Derby County have reportedly had a £1.2 million bid rejected from Sunderland for their 22-year-old midfielder Nectarios Triantis, who was on loan last season at Hibernian. Now, the 22-year-old Australian midfielder could find himself on his way to Derby County, and according to that of Transfer Market, is valued at around €1 million. But it is being reported that the fee Sunderland are requesting is around £1.5 million for him to be able to leave their club, as they have just got promoted to the Premier League. Now, his contract doesn't expire with Sunderland until the summer of 2027, meaning he has another 2 years on his contract. But this could be a deal which opens up the door for Derby County to bring in a very, very versatile midfielder who can also play as part of the back line and even in that right wing back position. Now, obviously for Derby County, midfield is a position where they need numbers, but could this be one? Now, that's something which you're going to take a look at in this video. If you have not done so already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, but let's take a look. Do you want to win yourself the brand new Derby County 2025-26 home shirt? Well, I'm here to give you an opportunity to do that. There will be a link down in the description where you can head on over to raffle.com to join a raffle where you can win the Derby County home shirt. Ticket prices start at just £1 with a range of different discounts available. You can buy 2 tickets, get 2 free, 5 tickets, get 5 free, 10 tickets, get 10 free, and 15 tickets to get 15 free. The intention with this is to give you guys the opportunity to win a Derby County shirt for less than the valued cost in the shop. So if you haven't done so already, head on down to the description, click on the link in the description, which will take you over to raffle.com, create yourself an account, answer the question, and join this raffle. The winner will be announced on August 1st at 6 p.m. as the transfer window begins to draw to a close. So if you haven't done so already, head on over there and get your tickets. Now, obviously for Derby County, we've got a lot of players across the course of this squad who are definitely within the back end of their career, or at least 30 plus, and obviously that's something which Derby County need to work on, not just this summer but also heading into January and then also next summer as well. And obviously that is only going to help Derby County lower the average age. Now, Trinitas, who is obviously 22 years old, certainly helps Derby County do that, and he's certainly a player who has ability. Now, he spent last season on loan at Hibernian FC, where he made 50 appearances, scoring 3 goals and collecting 6 assists across the course of, I think, around 3,000 minutes. Now, it is very interesting to look at this sort of player because Derby County are in a very, very good position in terms of those sitting midfielders, and even in that centre-back position as well in regards to the players that they have sort of long-term. You look at the centre-back position, especially for this season, you've got Clark, Bart, you've got obviously Langash, Rooney, Niambi can slot in, Fozzie, obviously Langas when he returns, Curtis Nelson. There's so many options in that centre-back position. You then go into that sort of double pivot role. You've got obviously Kenzo's been playing there. You've got Ibu Adams, David Ozo, Liam Thompson, Ben Osborne, all who can fill in that position. Now, obviously, in my opinion, I've said it time and time again, I don't think you can ever have too much quality in your squad, and I don't think you can ever have too much depth. Obviously, for Derby County, yes, you have that 25-man squad that you have to register, but there's a range of different players that can be in the first team picture that don't need to be registered. You look at someone like Freddie Turley, you look at the likes of Lennon Wilden, Dejan Brown, Jake Rooney, all players who don't need to be registered. You look in the right back position, Isaac Gordon doesn't need to be registered, and I think that's where he can sort of get away with having some extra bodies. Now, he is a player who can play centre-back, holding midfield and central midfield. He's also played at right wing-back on occasion. And obviously, across the course of sort of his career, is split the majority of his time between that pivot role and between sort of being a centre-back. 37 appearances at centre-back, 34 as a defensive midfielder, and that's obviously something which Derby County have to be sort of sure on, essentially. Where is he coming into play? Is he coming in to be a defender? Is he coming in to be a defensive midfielder? What sort of is the aim from John Eustace with this transfer? Now, obviously, the bid being rejected obviously sort of means that it's not sort of happening today. It could be something that progresses across the course of the next few days, but obviously right now it sort of opens the door for Derby County to assess other options and things like that. There's also been some other movement in regards to that of Callum Britton, which we'll talk about probably tomorrow at some point. But it's one of those for me where this deal makes so much sense in terms of the position that he plays and what Derby County need this summer in regards of obviously youth potential, as well as also shaping up that midfield for the future. You look at Ibu Adams about to turn 30, you've got Ben Osborne, I think he's 30 as well, and you then look and you've got like Tomo, you've got Kenzo, who are obviously in that sort of younger bracket, but then obviously Ozo isn't even our player, but is within that younger bracket as well. You've obviously got Weimann, who's probably going to slot into that 10 role again towards the back end of his career. And I think for me, there's a lot of work that actually needs to be done in regards to Derby County preparing themselves for the future and not just for now, if that makes sense. And obviously I think with the signings of Danny Bath, the signings of Andreas Weimann are definitely sort of like now signings, whereas I think this one is more of a look to the next couple of years rather than just today, and that's obviously something which will sort of be assessed across the course of the next few weeks, obviously. But it's one of those for me where I do think this makes sense in terms of looking forward, but I also think it's one of those where, is he going to get many minutes for us across the course of this season? I think that's going to depend on injuries. I think it's going to depend on the form of other players. You look realistically, if you look at Derby County's squad, you've probably got, if fit, you've probably got 2 players that will play every game, and one of them is Ibu Adams, in my opinion, because not necessarily is the best player in the world, but he offers something that we don't have in the squad. In terms of that sort of like work rate, heart sort of thing. I think he sort of offers that to an abundance, a bit similar to that of like the likes of Jason Knight used to, the likes of Craig Bryson, and obviously that's something which you can't really, you can replace it, obviously I've spoke about that a few days ago, but it's one of those that if you haven't replaced it, it's harder to replace. And I think this is one of those where one of the midfield slots is always going to be taken. You're not going to put this player above an Andy Weimann as a 10 or a Kenzo Halbmine as a 10. You're not going to put him ahead of anybody in that sort of position. So it is going to be interesting to see how it does obviously develop across the course of the next few weeks. Obviously, having that bid rejected is always gives you sort of an interesting sort of viewpoint on it, because where he could be massively important for Derby County in the long run, I ultimately think that maybe next season won't be the time where he has that importance. I think it'll be sort of in a year or two's time, coming into his 23s, 24s, where he'll end up being a big figure for Derby County. And obviously then that all depends on where Derby County end up in regards to that of potential promotion, relegation, all things like that. You never know what is going to happen, but it is going to be very, very interesting to see what changes across the course of the next few weeks or months or whatever in regards to that of squad depth and things like that, because midfield is one of those positions where, yes, we need players, but not for the sit-in position, in my opinion. I think realistically all the players we've got now can play all three, left, right and as a 10. Whereas not that I necessarily want Ibu as a 10, but you know what I mean. Whereas I think we need proper 10s rather than sort of makeshift 10s like Ibu Adams has been. And obviously we're going to have to see how that progresses with obviously the link to Ryan Brewster, which came out earlier on today. But obviously if you have not done so already, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell. Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments. I'm not entirely sure it's going to happen, but we've had a £1.2 million bid rejected, and he could be heading to Derby County. Do you want to win yourself the brand new Derby County 2025-26 home shirt? Well, I'm here to give you an opportunity to do that. There will be a link down in the description where you can head on over to raffle.com to join a raffle where you can win the Derby County home shirt. Ticket prices start at just £1 with a range of different discounts available. You can buy 2 tickets, get 2 free, 5 tickets, get 5 free, 10 tickets, get 10 free, and 50 15 tickets to get 15 free. The intention with this is to give you guys the opportunity to win a Derby County shirt for less than the valued cost in the shop. So if you haven't done so already, head on down to the description, click on the link in the description, which will take you over to raffle.com, create yourself an account, answer the question, and join this raffle. The winner will be announced on August 1st at 6 p.m. as the transfer window begins to draw to a close. So if you haven't done so already, head on over there and get your tickets.